All right, good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Potomac Curling Club for this morning's Draw 4 of the Embassy Row Bonspiel. Our feature action will be featuring Sheet B, the Fall Guys, Liz Harmon, Joe Soroka, Ben Hallman, and Mark Stieffenhofer, against Dem Beets, Kristy Bellefontaine, Simone Smith, Alison Kemp, and Tanya Mulvey. This is the second game for both of these teams, and they're trying to win in order to improve their odds of advancing in their various pools. Every team will be playing 3 games during yesterday and today. Winning teams will then be ranked and advance into finals based upon that. We are just about to throw our first stone of the match. It appears that Dem Beets is throwing the red stones, and the Fall Guys will be throwing the yellow stones, having the hammer in this year first end.
Fall Guys yesterday lost a terrific game to Team Black. Dem Beets also won a terrific game. Those were games that both went down to the wire. Dem Beets, All Potomac Club, yellow Fall Guys, Butts County, and a little bit of representation from Nittany as well. Liz is from Long Island.
And that first center guard is just about 2 feet short of the house, pretty much on the center line. Pretty good center guard. So Fall Guide Skip is asking his lead, Liz Harmon, to put up a corner guard over here on the left-hand side as we're viewing the sheet. He probably thinks it's the right-hand side. He's wrong. Liz's stone appears to be a bit heavy. Might stick around in the house, might go all the way through. No, that's probably going through, and it certainly will once Dem Beets Skip. Tanya Mulvey puts a broom to it, which she did, brings it through. First stone of the morning, it's always a little challenging. So Simone getting ready to throw her second stone of the end, being asked to draw behind the very nice guard that she put up with the first stone. I think she was a little bit wide on that delivery, but it's not bad. It is coming back nicely. The sweepers aren't touching it, so they would be a little concerned about the speed. Now they're getting into it, although really just kind of keeping it clean. It's not going to bury, but it looks like it will make the house. Yeah, very easily. Full 8 foot. Is exposed over here on the left-hand side, and that is what Mark is asking Liz to go after with her second stone. So my name is Alan McNeil. I'll be presenting the action today with co-commentator, also coordinator of this year Bonspiel, Bo Dury. Say good morning, Bo.
Good morning, Bo.
And on the camera controls,
all the way from Waynesboro, Pennsylvania. Is that correct? Janine Green.
That's Klein.
Oh, Janine Klein.
Whatever.
Janine had a wedding this summer, as did the Dobbs family, who will be put in action later today.
yes.
Michael and Christine. Michael, our most recent past president.
Wedding bells are ringing all over the Potomac River.
That's correct.
Oh, they did get married.
Yes,
they did get married, and they actually met at the first Embassy Row event. I found out this
several
week.
years ago. Yes.
Several years ago. Yep.
Okay, then.
And speaking of married people, Kristy Bellefontaine is about to take off. Her husband, Jamie, is our kitchen coordinator today.
And for most of the weekend, really.
And for the weekend, actually, yes. We're
And
very lucky to have
I
her.
may say that he has been doing a marvelous job with the foods.
He has indeed.
So this looks like it was intended to be a draw round, but instead it's going to probably tap that center guard up. It's probably not going to hit it enough to now. It just kind of advances the center guards a little bit. And there's 2 guards on the center. That redstone in the house in the 8 foot is a little, actually it's about half exposed on the outside. And it looked to me as though Mark is requesting Joe Soroka to go after that stone in the 8 foot, and he did indicate that if it does overcurl a little bit and instead takes off the guard, that's fine. When you've got the hammer in an early end of the game, taking off a guard is not hardly ever a real problem. And it kind of looks like that's what's going to happen here. The stone's cutting pretty hard. No, I'm wrong. It gets past the guard by the slimmest of margins. Executes the takeout. Very well executed, very well read for a 10 a.m. draw on a Saturday.
Yeah, I can tell you on sheet D, it looks like the ice is running a bit faster than people have expected. And so their ladder rots have gone a bit farther than expected
Bit
so
through.
far.
That gives us a fine opportunity to talk about the other games on the ice today.
All right.
On sheet A, we have the Correct Curling Dynamo against the Squirtle Squad. Squirtle Squad 1-0. Correct Curling Dynamo lost their first game. They're both competing in our Klakova group, named for the swimming star from the Ukraine in both 2000 and 2004. Our game on sheet B is one of the games in the Sneaker. Thank you. Group, named after the tennis star Darius Sneaker. And then on sheet C, we have Team Fallon versus the Indies. Team Fallon from Potomac. Nope, I'm sorry. That's Team Fallon versus Loudoun Rocks. Yep. My notes are incorrect. Team Fallon is 1-0. Loudoun Rocks is 0-1. They're in the same group as the game on sheet A, the Coca group. And then on sheet D, we have Team Black with over 100 years of curling experience and undefeated in this tournament so far against the Indies, who lost their first round game. They're in the Sneaker group.
And the Sneaker group, those first two games were both fantastic, coming down to the last rots. And one person to watch for on sheet D, if you get a glimpse over there, Mark Hoera, the lead for Team Black. Is Ukrainian. He is wearing a traditional Ukrainian shirt, kind of cream-colored with a nice little festive floral design down the front.
And as he was pointing out this morning, no buttons.
No buttons.
As opposed to yesterday's shirt, which apparently had buttons.
I did think it was slightly different.
Yes.
Yes.
The more you know.
There you go.
All right, we are now Alison Kemp, Dem Beets Vice, throwing her first stone of the morning. She's attempting to deal with the two yellow stones that are in the house. Looks like she's going to get contact with the top one. I'm sorry. Yes, she did.
Ooh.
Raised it on, does a takeout of one of them, leaving yellow one, but it does kind of tuck that yellow stone in pretty well guarded, frankly. So successful, but only just so successful. Not exactly what she was hoping for. So now Mark asking his vice, Ben Hallman, to put another one in behind that cover. I think he's looking to get behind his current shot. There's room there, he could do it. He's got the sweepers on it hard. The stone is definitely cutting. This ice is very swingy here in the first end. That's a little unusual. It actually wrecks on that top guard. That is a disaster for them, as the shooter doesn't even roll into the house, and it 3/4 exposes that yellow shot stone up in the 8-foot.
Quick note on sheet C, I believe Team Fallon has switched up its order a bit. Yesterday, Melvin Shaw was their skip. It appears today that Gilad Kempenich of the Brazilian national team, wearing a Brazilian shirt today, I believe he is skipping, and it looks like Melvin is playing vice.
Yeah, they're both well qualified to skip, so there's no real.
That whole team is.
Yeah, frankly.
Yeah, and Loudoun has mixed things up as well. Dan Eisen, who is Loudoun but also a Potomac member and curls here quite a bit, he appears to be skipping for them today.
Alison, while we were talking about those other games, Alison, as expected, picked out that shot stone. The house is now empty. Although Ben Hallman is being requested to draw one in behind to solve that problem. But since we're on second vice stones, and as we all know, if you have the hammer, you want to score two. They're in a little bit of a pickle right now on how they're going to do that. They're going to need Tanya to make a mistake, and Tanya has many years of curling experience. In fact, actually was in an Olympic trials back, I believe it was almost 9 years ago now. So it wasn't this most recent one. It was before that, I believe. But she definitely has the experience and the game to pull this off, especially when the Fall Guys put their shot stone behind the tee, and it's, I'm going to call it half exposed. It looks like Alison Kemp is holding the broom for Tanya to do a hack to board, probably board weight takeout. She's probably hoping to just slightly cross the nose and tuck in behind the two. Yep, Simone Smith is actually confirming that right now. She actually, apparently, judging from those hand signals, doesn't care which way she rolls as long as she rolls a little bit.
And Tanya is expert at those mid-weight hits to get them where she wants to be. I've played with her, and she taught me a lot about you can throw hack and do a lot more with that than cannon.
She has kicked my team's rear end on numerous occasions. So yes, she's.
By the way, adding to this lovely broadcast is Jamie Bellefontaine.
Yes, welcome to the broadcast, Jamie. Good morning.
Hello, everybody.
Yeah, the aforementioned kitchen coordinator extraordinaire, and more importantly, husband of Kristy.
So this shot from Tanya is coming in. Her slide line is so perfect. I can't actually see the stone.
Like a little narrow.
Yeah, she popped the guard. And I believe it was either a shooter or the first guard that she hit rolls out. The yellow stone now is all but fully exposed. There might be a corner tucked, but nothing that's problematic in the slightest. As the Fall Guys prepare to throw their first, I think I saw the broom put down. They're looking to kind of a scoring guard, top 12 in front of their stone. They actually probably even would like it not to be directly in front of their stone, even just a slight bit to the left would even be even better, just to protect the draw line and make Tanya's second shot even more challenging. Because that red stone that's just to the right of the center line is guarding the shot stone from the other turn very effectively.
So would they be happier with a bite? That way, if Tanya does knows that she's outside.
Yes, I would say that a bite to, even they could even put their yellow stone all but completely into the 12-foot, just so that if a nose hit wouldn't actually be in the house.
So that's
this is heavy. This is very heavy. This,
oh wow!
Is it going to tap theirs?
I think they're sweeping to keep it from here.
Well, no. Yeah, actually, they're probably sweeping it to tap the shot stone over, put it behind cover a little bit better.
That's fair.
That was not their plan. It was what they got. And it really it made it so that Tanya's shot is basically a carbon copy of what her first shot was, frankly, except that there's fewer guards in play, making it theoretically easier. Now, what Tanya may be considering doing, not with that broom, she could consider a draw in to get in front of that yellow that's in the back 4-foot, which would execute a force and make it so that there was no way the Fall Guys could get two if she was able to make it so the stone could not be removed. Now, the danger with that is it's the first end. If she messes that up, she could leave a potential shot for 3. So this looks like she's playing the smarter first end shot, which is take out that yellow on the center line at kind of that same hack board weight that she threw with the last one. And then in a perfect world, she's going to roll over in front of that other yellow one, kind of canceling it out as well. Guarantees that yellow at most makes 2, and if she gets this absolutely perfect, yellow will have just a force draw for 1.
They're sweeping it already.
They are sweeping it already, but I think that looks more like line tuning than anything panic sweeping. Yeah. It's past the guard clean. It's definitely got the hit. Is it going to have enough to roll over on top? Not really. It is open. It is exposed.
Should be a straight shot for 2 here.
Yeah, pretty much. The only complication, and it's not really that much of one, for Fall Guys skip Mark Steinhofer will be that if he does cross over the face in just the slightest, there is that guard that's just barely guarding.
Leaning over where he's standing in the hack, it looks completely clear.
Yeah, it's 95% clear, if not more. So this should be he should be able to get to the nose of this stick and make 2. It is the first end of a Saturday morning game.
Yes.
Nothing is ever guaranteed. And these guys, unlike the pros, these guys do not get practice or warm up or anything like that before the game.
Yep.
So this is literally the second stone he's thrown today. That is a complication. But
He's tapping his
If anything,
foot.
he's wide. I think it was kind of more of a balance check than anything.
Oh,
He's
that
wide at
may
the
be a
moment. He
little
does
wide.
not
Yeah,
have
that's
it.
going to sail.
He's, well, okay, he did make contact, but not enough to take it out. Red lies 1. So Dem Beets gets the steal.
And with that, I'm going back to the kitchen.
And with that, we're going back to the kitchen.
Speaking of beets,
I've heard rumors of borscht for lunch.
on sheet C, I'll tell you that Loudoun has had one of those ends where you miss a shot by an inch and it costs you. They have been playing a very good end, and it looks like right now they might be giving a steal too. They had one locked into the 4-foot. Dan Eisen, skipping forward today, threw one that trying to pick out, a difficult pick out of a shot that Gilad had thrown. Just missed that and actually tapped his own into a slightly worse spot. So hammer now for Loudoun. Not much for them to shoot at. If they want to be risky, they can try. But they could risk giving up a ton here. They might be better off just sort of. Well,
it looks like they got a shot. I'm not sure what it is, but they're definitely, that's not a throwaway broom.
No, that's definitely not a throwaway broom. That is. I think the better shot here would have been to try to draw on the right side as we're looking at it, and as Dan is looking at it, and try to squeeze one in there, and you could actually get a single out of there. I'm not sure.
I don't know that maybe. My angle's not great. I really can't tell. This looks like he's doing a tappy, takey outy kind of thing.
And just missed. Yeah, so, and that's 4 shots that they basically missed by an inch. And so they end up giving up probably 2. They've already kicked the other one away, so we'll wait till they post a score for that. A really well played in for Loudoun there, and just a bit unlucky, missing some shots by inches. Sheet D has finished their first end. I did not have a chance to see that. It's tough to see what's going on. Oh, it looks like it was
a force of 1 yellow.
Force of 1 yellow.
And on sheet A, also the red team, which is
red team must
correct curl.
Yeah, red team
Dynamo.
must be correct. Yeah.
Yeah, they also were forced to take their 1.
Sheet C again?
Sheet C would be most likely 2 for yellow. They have not hung it up yet.
And it's Team Fallon in yellow against Loudoun in red.
Oh, I'm sorry. Team 2 for red, which would.
Loudoun rocks?
No.
I have that. I have
on
that backwards.
C, it's 2 yellow.
I have it backwards. Yeah, 2 yellow for which is Fallon. They just have not hung it up yet.
And D?
2. Gilad confirms for us that it was 2. On D, that would be a force of 1. So
Indies.
1 for Indies.
All right, over here we are well into the second end on our feature sheet, sheet B. Dem Beets up 1-0 after a first end steal. And the Fall Guys have a stone in the biting the 8-foot over here to our right. They're putting in a nice split house biter over to the far left. It's maybe a little deep, but it is in play. Not really a problem at all. All right, so Tanya Mulvey asking her lead Simone. Oh, no, I'm sorry, we're on second stones now. So that is the second Kristy Bellefontaine asking to take out the right of the 2 yellow stones in the neighborhood of the tee line. At the moment, Tanya's probably concerned. This is kind of setting up for a classic skips 2 for yellow if everybody executes everything perfectly. So she's trying to get behind that cover. That was a long roll to ask. Didn't quite make it. Did get to the center line, but did not get under the cover all the way. So Mark Stieffenhofer has a relatively clean shot for his second Joe Soroka. to take it out. It looked from the broom that he was giving as though he was asking Joe to roll to the outside after the hit. I think I would have probably tried to roll under, although it's a little early to try to go to the forefoot if you've got the hammer. So either call is defensible. He's trying to get his 2. He's in a good spot for it at the moment. See how it goes. Sweepers are on this hard. They just got off a little bit. He's looking for a little bit more curl. I think he's got the contact. He's definitely got the contact and a little bit of roll outside. Does it stick? Yes, it does. Now these stones are moving deeper into the house, so he can only do that just so many times before he's going to run out of house in the back. But looks like Tanya's abandoning the takeout and concede the 2. No, maybe not. She was considering it. Changed her mind. She's playing the takeout again.
Quick note from D, we just had one of those rare instances of all 4 members of a team sweeping the same rock. Indies trying to drag their rock into the house. Couldn't quite get it there.
So an interesting thing that they told me while I was at a national level event recently, adding a 3rd and 4th sweeper at this level of curling does not matter.
Yeah. It's kind of for show.
It's maybe psychological. You know, it's letting the skip letting the rest of the sweepers know, okay, come on, we need to throw everything we've got in this. But the extra distance that you actually get out of something like that is like on the order of half an inch. Now, if you're fighting for half an inch, do what you gotta do. Okay, so Tanya Mulvey's missed the stone altogether with, I believe that was Kristy's 2nd stone. Yes. So now Mark actually has a situation where he could load a 3rd scoring stone into the house. And at the moment, they're all widely separated, so doubles are not a thing right now. He is wisely staying away from that center guard. Stone feels a little bit heavy to me, but I think it'll stop short of the tee. It's got house. Yep, right on the tee in the right hand 8-foot. It is close enough to that other stone. A double is a possibility, and Tanya is in fact looking right at that right now. Question as to whether Tanya is going to be able to get Alison to throw exactly what she needs to get there. Alison's got the skill, Tanya's got the broom, so it's possible.
I tried to signal Loudoun to sweep. They did not see me.
Was that what that was?
That's what that was, because if they'd gotten that shot past the guard, it would have been in pretty good shape. Because Team Fallon, basically, Stephen threw up 2 perfect guards. Jimmy threw 2 perfect draws.
They do that.
They do that.
All right, so Tanya, it does not make the double. It does, however, roll to a position where actually Tanya does get shot out of that from her vice, Alison Kemp. It's in a removable spot, though. The trick here, though, is that depending on how you take that out, you probably, unless you can get a good-sized roll, you probably leave both of those right-hand stones very doubleable. Possible that Mark is just asking for an out draw. That's an interesting choice, if that's what he's doing. I can't tell. I don't know him well enough to know his calling style. As yet another very good guard gets put into the phalanx over there on sheet C. Loudoun County's kind of probably wishing they'd stayed on the other side of the belt of the Wilson Bridge this morning.
Well, it's a nice chance to end the play on dedicated ice. Dan gets to do that. The rest of the group does not. And again, if they had swept that last rock past the guard, they would have frozen it into the forefoot and been looking at a much better situation.
All right, so the tap. I think he just called the tap. I don't think Mark actually went all the way for the takeout. I think he's planning on doing that with a later stone, if he's got one available. Tanya asking Alison now to come in, probably try to get behind that center guard. because the tone of the end has changed. Yellow is lying 1, but only just barely right now. Those other 2 biters from earlier in the end have been kind of, right now they're discounted, although they're still in play, so it could still happen. Alison's stone is probably going to bury, but it is going to be deep. It's at least the full 12, touching the back, gets a biter. Right now it's 5th shot. Just a little deep. So now is Mark, I think Mark is taking advantage of that second stone that I was talking about in a meeting earlier to take care of this. He's intending to tap his yellow into the red that's just behind it. He probably actually wants to leave the red in the neighborhood, not take it out of play, so that it's available as kind of a catcher for other stones. And if he executes this correctly, he'll be probably lying 4 at the end, which would be a great feel for the Fall Guys at this point. This, however, feels like it's a little inside. Yep, all it did was tap their back one. Doesn't really dramatically change the situation. It's kind of a pair of missed shots there. Loudoun County went for a raised takeout over on C. Missed it just a little bit on the outside. Actually on the inside of the hit, therefore the stone went to the outside of the stuff in the middle.
On sheet D, terrific vice play from Keith Nussbaum for Indies and John Hale for Team Black. Keith had a takeout on his first shot and a nice partially buried draw on the next one, but not fully buried, and John took care of that and managed to avoid the jam just barely at the back, and so that leaves Team Black, I believe, has 2 in there. I can't quite tell.
Yeah, 1 at the top of the 4-foot and 1 in the back 12, and I don't think that there's another stone that from my angle might be a biter, but I don't think it is.
Yeah, I don't think it is from here either. I'm looking diagonally at it, but I don't think it is.
All right, and over here on sheet A, we've got the second end hammer coming up. It's been a very clear end. There's only 1 red stone in the house, and it looks as though Chris Seeley is intending on taking it out. He probably wants to roll out to maintain his hammer rather than just take the 1. So that stone's getting ready to come right now.
Don't often see blanks in their spiels, but
I'm not sure we're going to get one here either. It looks like it might be nosy. Nope, I am wrong. He got over across enough to blank the end. So we have a blank.
A blank?
On sheet A. Leaving that score 1-0 in favor of the correct curling dynamo, but Squirtle Squad does hang on to the hammer.
As they would say on Match Game, Chris Sully threw that rock so well that he drew a blank.
They would not say that on Match Game.
Freddie Forgetful was so forgetful that when he tried to remember something, he drew a blank. That was from Family Guy.
Yeah, exactly, a blank.
Loudoun throwing its first skip stone.
This is an interesting shot. The angle
is it
raised.
Close?
It is close.
Is it close?
Get past that guard. Sweep it.
Oh, it's
sweep
on the
it.
guard.
Whoa.
No, actually, they needed to not sweep it. Sweeping it wasn't going to get that.
Yeah.
Sweeping that
That's
stone.
true.
They needed it to cut more.
I was thinking if they swept the one they hit, it might get
Oh,
messy,
well,
but no,
yeah,
probably not.
probably not.
No, but
that's usually
again,
an angle game.
This has been the game for Loudoun so far. They are missing shots by an inch.
And that is the unfortunate part about curling.
Yeah.
The result does not always reflect the quality.
Yeah. If you look at the gold medal game from 2018, Nicholas Zadine had a shot that spilled a half rock too far over.
Yep.
And that left John Schuster a shot for 5 that he converted.
Yeah, the history of U.S. curling changed dramatically by an inch.
An interesting trivia note: Mark Stieffenhofer, in his first year, Tyler George, who was the vice on that team, came to his club, set up that shot, and let people take a whack at it. No one made it until Mark did it. If you go on Tyler George's Twitter feed, you will find video of that shot.
Did they made Nicholas's shot, or they made Schuster's shot?
Schuster's shot. Which for Schuster's probably a shot that he hits, what, about 80, 90% of the time?
No.
No?
No, 40% at the most.
Really?
He gets a number out of it 80, 90% of the time, and it's probably a pretty good number, but the 5 is only 1 out of 3.
I thought he just had to nose.
No, he had to get a little bit more action than that.
Okay. But a recreational curler hits that shot considerably less.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
There's a reason we're not all in the Olympics.
Correct.
I mean, aside from the fact that the Olympics would be really big if we were all in it.
Right. On sheet C, Dan Eisen throwing the hammer for Loudoun. Team Fallon has 3 in the rings and 5 guards.
And it looks like they're just kind of conceding that they're giving up a 2 because there's nothing that they can do about it to improve the situation, rather than possibly give up 4. Okay,
yeah, that'll be
the hammer was, no, not the hammer, I'm sorry. Red's last on the second end on sheet B did an interesting little tap kind of number. So yellow is taking some time looking at the situation, trying to figure out what they've got. What they're facing is very definitely reddish shot. There's no question there. It's full in the 8-foot. It's behind a couple covering stones. It's removable, but not by much. And the other problem is the shot that removes that stone in the 8-foot, the shooter rolls towards the yellow that right now is maybe second stone. So yellow has no shot at 2. So it looks like all they're doing is they're taking a draw. They have to basically get to the inside of the 8-foot, touching the 4-foot, something like that, to get their 1. And if they fail at this, they might be giving up 2. It's definitely 1 red. I can't tell if it's a second or not. It's very tight. The stone is on its way on sheet B. Looking for a draw. Sweepers aren't touching it. To me, it appears about right. Maybe a touch heavy, but they've got a wide margin. Alison Kemp is out there to sweep it. She's ready to do so. She's on it. It's coming through. She's got the sweep. She sweeps it far enough. Red steals another 1. That's the second steal in a row for Dem Beets to go up 2-0.
On sheet D, for Indies, I believe they had another takeout or so that just spilled out into the open. Bruce Black just hit the 1 yellow that was in there and takes 3 in the second end.
So all of our games are now starting the third end. They're progressing nicely in terms of time.
We will get synchronized curling into the Olympics at some point, won't we?
On one hand, I want to see that. On the other hand, I never want to see that. So just a reminder for folks who this may be the first draw of the Spiel that they've seen, these games are on a shared time clock limit at 11:50 a.m., 1150. They will end the end that they are on, and that is the end of their game. So far during this tournament, that hour and 50-minute limit, a lot of games have really only gone 7. Some have gone 8. If the teams have been playing quickly and openly, teams have made their 8th end. But a lot of 7-end games have happened as well. We just have to do that to keep the event on schedule. So that will factor into some team strategy, particularly as we get further on down into the game.
And we've had a lot of close games, so teams have not been shaking early.
Yes, that is true. Unlike last end over on sheet A, where there was practically nothing in play, so far at the moment, just about every stone is currently in play. There are an awful lot of stones in the house. Nothing's actually guarding anything that I can tell. It's kind of a mixed doubles end kind of thing as they're starting off over there. At the moment, it looks like red's lying 1. There's still a lot of stones to go. We'll update you on that as we get a little closer to the end.
The Loudoun fans applaud for a very nice takeout.
Tanya asks Simone Smith to execute a takeout. It's definitely not going to be a takeout, and it's going to be too heavy to stick around. I think this is just going to kind of roll through. A missed shot. Statisticians would be putting a big old 0 in the system right now on that if we had statisticians at the sponsor.
I'm very glad that when I play, I do not have statisticians.
Sometimes I kind of wish I did, because you see teams that are playing what seems like, from looking at it, absolutely horribly, and then you look at their stats and they're like 85%. Which just, again, goes to emphasize that a shot can be pretty good off by just an inch, and it's a real problem. Fall Guys loading another stone into the house. This one in the 12-foot out, or on the 12-foot on our left as we're looking at it. Or
what I find with stats is that the lead, depending on the type of game, often has a bit of an advantage, because if the lead is throwing mostly guards, there's not, a stat keeper might not make much of a distinction between a 1 guard and a 3 guard. Whereas with the skip, you have a lot less margin for error, usually. Not always.
So if the statistician is doing their job properly, which we're all volunteers that are doing it, so no guarantees. If the statistician is doing their job properly and the skip is called for a 1 guard and the lead throws a 3 guard, that's a 1 out of a 4.
Okay.
Now, again, volunteers, and it is kind of what it is. But the skips, you are correct that the grading rubric for a skip is there is no margin for error. If you execute the shot, you get a 4. If you do not execute the shot, you get a 0.
Yeah, even on something like a double takeout, if that double takeout is, if you get 1 out of 2, but the score remains the same.
Yeah, if you don't, if you did not change the, you can get a 2 on some shots. If, for example, you were facing 2 and you take out 1, but the other team still scores 1, you get a 2.
Right.
But that's even still, that's even that's strict. And there is nothing in the stats rubric currently for degree of difficulty. They have tried on a couple of occasions to try to come up with something, but they haven't been able to come up with a system.
Yeah, Jerry Gertz tried for a while, as I recall.
Jerry Gertz with Curling Zone has tried. There's also a gentleman from Germany who works with the WCF and does all the international events, who does he brings the statistician system to all of the world events, and he also has tried very hard at figuring out some sort of 0 to 10 degree of difficulty system. We played with it at a Continental Cup that I was at one year, and the problem that we had was, again, volunteers. Mm-hmm. It's hard enough as it is to get and train volunteers to be able to just get the 0 to 4 thing well enough, throw in the degree of difficulty. And I mean, it was an exhibition event, and halfway through they were like, nope, this isn't working. We can't, we're not getting numbers that feel right. So they just gave it up. If we had professional statisticians, maybe, but that's never going to be a thing.
Unless you happen to be driving through the Washington, D.C. area and feel like stopping. It's okay with us.
What a shot from Bill Balding. A raise of a zone guard and ends up with a red rock on the button.
Nicely done, and well guarded too. There's 3 good guards in front of that stone, a couple on the other side. Gabe is looking at options, but all he has is to raise a red stone at it, which if that red stone jams, that was beautiful.
That's very nice, yeah.
That's probably their shot of the spiel so far, frankly. And Melvin's coming down with some significant speed.
The shouting here is on sheet A, by the way.
And nearly executed it. the uncool and very dirty way by rubbing off another guard on the way by, but missed it. That did have the effect of taking out some of that stone's protection on C. So that stone from Loudoun County is feeling kind of lonely in the button right now.
Yeah, I think would your call here be to throw another guard up and?
Where are we at? We're on first skips.
Second vice.
Second vice.
Yeah.
Then yes.
Okay.
So far here on our feature sheet, sheet B, we have 2 yellow stones in the house, both behind the tee, no guards, and the Fall Guys are trying to figure out a way to get on the board here. This stone is not going to help their mission much. It is very short, in danger of hogging. They get it in, but it's guarding the side of the house that there is nothing in. So. Like they got a second red stone in. Okay. Over on sheet C, they threw a scoring stone in the other direction. The danger there is it appears to me as though you could maybe jam the red that's on the button right now into it. I'm at kind of an oblique angle, so it's a little difficult for me to tell the exact angles, but kind of looks like that's what Gilad is looking at, judging from where Melvin has his broom. And he's looking at the angles. Bo is taking a closer look right now. He'll be back on the headphones in a second. And now that Bo is back, he can give us a better update on the situation on sheet C.
On sheet C, yeah, I mean, not sure exactly that Bill Balding, the vice for Loudoun, did quite exactly what he wanted to. He kind of bumped his own red, but that red is still sticking in its second shot right now. He still has one on the button. The bad news is that it's unguarded, and Gilad is just aiming straight down the barrel at Melvin Shaw right now to get rid of that.
But do you feel like the angle is there, that if he gets the one on the button out, does it take out that red one in the 8-foot, or is the angle hidden, covered by that yellow?
It's possible. It risks rubbing off the yellow guard.
Yeah, they just nosed it.
They just nosed it, yeah.
Probably a smarter call, really.
Right, and so if they can do a hit battle here and just trade hits, then Loudoun still can score 2 out of this.
That would be a reasonably decent result for them.
Oh, absolutely.
The danger, of course, being all they have to do is come up a little short of nose on any one of their stones, the 2 stones they have remaining, and they could jam on their yellow, and the complexion of this end changes dramatically.
Yeah. Well, Dan Eisen's throwing their 4th rods now, and he knows this ice better than he comes over to Potomac at least once a week, I believe, and so he knows this ice better than the rest of the team, which plays on arena ice.
Yeah, I believe he curls on Fridays here, does he not? I know it's
I play Friday early. I don't remember seeing him.
Okay, I know he doesn't play Thursday.
I think Dan's throwing a pretty good shot here.
Snicks past his guard. It did. It's not going to be a hit.
No,
on that yellow.
not the weight that he would have wanted.
It's
but
not, yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah,
that's interesting in kind of Curse of the Gypsies way. That could be useful if everything worked out for him perfectly.
It could.
However, unfortunately, Melvin and team tend to try to not let that work for you like that.
Yep.
Meanwhile, on our feature sheet, the game you're actually watching, we are coming down to the skip stones. Red has thrown their first skip stone, and currently it is shot over here on the left-hand side of the stone, nestled up against but behind a yellow stone. It is removable. Mark Stieffenhofer is looking with his first skip stone on what he wants to do. He could just tap that red out and beeline 2. The danger of that being that probably puts his shooter in a position where Tanya can go after removing a double, and Mark would really like to try to get 2 here. I'm not sure where the broom is. He could be playing either of 2 shots, so got to come back and see which handle he puts on his stone to figure out which whether he's trying to draw to the split house behind the guard over there on the right, or if he is doing that kind of tappy takeout thing that I was discussing a second ago.
On sheet C, a rare kind of half miss from Gilad leaves that yellow on the button. I think Dan can see about 60% of it.
That's enough, and it looks to me like if he hits and sticks, it's a 3.
Could be.
All right, on B with his first skip, as he is going for that tappy kind of removal of the red that I was discussing. The sweepers are on it pretty hard. It's in danger of over-curling. It already has over-curled. It's going to, if anything, it's going to hit their yellow. It may miss everything on the outside. It missed everything on the outside. It wasted stone, basically.
Yeah, Dan threw his skip rock a mile wide, and so that's going to be a steal 1 for yellow.
That's unfortunate.
Yeah.
That is really unfortunate because they were set up.
That was a shot for 3.
They were set up to make this a more interesting game, a little bit closer over there, but
yeah.
That's also unfortunately kind of been the story of their spiel so far. Is like you were saying, just off a little bit on one critical shot here and there. It's a heartless game.
Yep.
Tanya preparing to throw her final stone here in the third end, as they are kind of evaluating and looking to figure out what they want to do. I think she's doing a split house draw. A split house draw basically does create a force situation where all yellow's really going to have is either a hit or a stick for 1. So that's definitely, it's definitely what Tanya's doing. Tanya's looking to draw probably behind that guard that's over just to the right of the center line. You know, she might be a little heavy here. Stone might be a little heavy. If she goes through, that does give Mark some options.
So they hung the score on sheet A. It's 1 yellow on the third end.
So that's tied at 1 after 3. All right, Tanya did get that to stick in the house. It is on the center line. It is completely open. But yeah, that's just a pure hit force. Mark can just pop that on the nose, or he can even draw it too. It's far enough back. He could just, if he's confident in his ability to hit the 4-foot on a draw, he could just draw it. He's probably just going to draw using it as backing. That is a force of 1. Mark's got to be a little bit disappointed to only be in that situation. But on the other hand, he's only going to be down 2-1 if he executes this. So that's not bad. The danger here is if Mark goes deep or shallow on this, he gives up a steal at 2, and this game rapidly starts to get out of hand.
Give you an update on sheet D after Mark's shot.
Mark's stone is on the way. Sweepers are jumping on it immediately. Now they do have the backing, so there's very little harm that can be done by the stone being too heavy, as long as he didn't botch the line. He is coming up to, it's probably, does it have the legs? Right now the question is, does it have the legs? Yes, by about a foot he gets it in. Yellow takes 1 to go down to be down 2-1 after 3.
All right, on sheet D, Alex Hyla had one in the house that I thought was buried. Bruce Black disagreed, and so did his rock, and removed that yellow that I thought was buried. And so now he has one that is kind of open.
Can you do the all house view?
He has one that Alex should be able to hit, because Alex has wound up peeling a guard on his first shot. I think he can get in there and score 1.
From what I'm seeing from the overhead, yeah, I think it's probably, the Indies can probably get in there to score 1. Looks like it's actually draw line that he's called. No, it is. It's probably a hack weight tap hit kind of line for 1. Actually, it looks like Indies could get 2 if they played this perfectly. Because if they come in at hack weight and tap that stone to the 4-foot back so that it's out of the 8-foot and stick, they would actually score 2. Sweepers are on it immediately. The stone should be coming into your view here on the video any second now. They want to kind of shoot that gap between the yellow and the red guard and want to try to nose that stone to the 4-foot. Yep, just like that, 4-2. We have a tie game on sheet D.
You were watching sheet D right there?
I was.
Yeah, there was a nice shot from Alex there.
Yep, so that ties that up after 3. That's going to be a good tight game. None of our games are really ridiculously out of hand at the moment.
Sheet D, sort of an ad hoc team, people who, I guess, anyway, sheet D, as I was saying, has 3 Potomac people, and then Kristy Becker from Coastal Carolina and Wilmington, North Carolina, does another arena curler, doesn't get much chance to play in dedicated. Their season is in the summer because they are all hockey in the winter. So chance for her to play on dedicated ice, and yesterday she threw her first shot right on the button.
I still say she should have given up the sport right after that because I've been playing for 12 years. I don't think I put one right on the button yet.
Right. I think they wanted that one to be a guard, and they overswept it, and so it's in the house. But
oh, well.
Not Kristy's fault.
All right, games are all in the 4th end here. That's of our scheduled 8. Here on our feature sheet, we currently have a yellow in the 4-foot just off the button to the left, a red in the 8-foot, and we now have 2 guards up front that are doing more or less decent jobs. Fall guys from Long Island and Bucks County trying to figure out a way to get back to a tie on this via a steal. And believe that Mark is asking his second, Joe Soroka, to kind of put a guard up in front of the one that they've got on the button, up in the 12-foot where there's some raise options later. This doesn't look like it's going to make the house. Looks like it is going to be a good line, but it's going to be a little short. It's going to be about a 2.
Little drift there at the end on B.
Yeah, but that's perfectly fine. That between that stone and the red stone that's next to it, that yellow stone on the just off the button is pretty well guarded. Now Tanya could have Kristy. She's either going to peel, or if that drives straight back, they might both go. But that's an awfully long raise to actually call. So if it happens accidentally, great. But really, she's really just trying to peel. Kristy's stone is on the way. Good speed. Got the contact for the peel, rolls out of the way. That's exactly what was called for. That's a perfectly executed stone by Kristy Bellefontaine.
And their rolled just where it guards their second shot off.
Yeah, I mean that was everything. I mean that was exactly what Tanya could have dreamed for. So that was marvelous. Fall Guys skip Mark Stieffenhofer asking. Oops, we almost had a little bit of an incident where we have no borders between our sheets. We're a borderless society. We're like the European Union. But in this case, a stone was attempting to invade our game on B, but it was rapidly cut off by the UN peacekeeping force, and everything was restored to normality.
The bad luck continues for Loudoun. They were trying to take out some of the traffic for Gilad's team, and just wound up bumping their own out of the rings.
So no, we have not rewound the tape here on sheet B. It is once again Tanya asking Kristy to peel off a guard in front of the scoring stone. The only difference being we're a little closer to the house this time, but other than that, really Tanya's hoping for the exact same results. She pretty much got the exact same stone. She's going to she got the exact same result, except that the shooter's going to roll out of play on this, and that's okay. This is not a recording. Mark asking Ben, put stone in front of stone. Sweepers are not on this at all, as though they think it's a little long. Whoa, that took a sharp left.
Whoa! Angle raise from Bill Balding for Loudoun, and he's got one frozen. Now it's beyond the tee line, but sitting shot. I don't know if he intended to do that, but awesome result.
Of course he intended to do that.
Of course he intended to do that.
So while you were gushing over the shot on sheet C, the stone from Fall Guys vice Ben Hallman, I think it had to have picked on something, because it took a severe right-hand turn left from our point of view, and it is not guarding the shot stone. So Tanya is basically saying, thank you very much for that bad luck. I am now going to remove your stone that's on the floor.
Last night on this sheet, we had a rock turn more like 90 degrees immediately. I've never seen that happen before. It just a lot more than the stone you just saw.
Yeah, I'm operating on the assumption there was some piece of rubber or something on the ice. The running surfaces of curling stones are very sensitive to that sort of thing. And there's the takeout, roll out, got the shooter all the way out, dove play. Yes, touched the sideline, out of play. So Tanya has removed that pesky little stone on the forefoot. It took her 3 stones to get it done, but eventually the defense, and that's why you peel guards. You continue peeling guards, make the other team always put it back. All it takes is a mistake, and in this case it wasn't even really a mistake, it was just a piece of bad luck. And just so you know, Bo, there is something in the stats to reflect that. There's a button you can push that says the stone picked something up. It wasn't the thrower's fault.
So is it a not scored?
Yes.
Okay. Kind of like same as when you throw one away.
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah, I do know if you throw one through the house, that is not scored.
Yeah, you don't get an automatic 4.
You don't get 100% if you're throwing it through.
No, I wish you did. Those would be great.
That'd be nice.
But there is a button in the stats in the stat system for it's labeled with a W because it's something weird.
Oh, really?
Weird.
So it's more specific than just the 0. It's in
the stats it's recorded as an X, but so to make it easy for the person running the computer, because in a perfect world you'll never hit this button, but if you need it, it's got a big W on it. Something weird happened. You also use that if the sweepers burn a stone, or if the sweeper falls, something like that.
On sheet C, Gilad's first attempt at raising one of his own only got a little ways in. Then Dan Eisen for Loudoun through. I don't know what the intent was. Maybe to draw around the guards and get to the 4. I think I would have just thrown up a guard to make it more difficult for Gilad to run his in, because right now Gilad has a bit of margin for error to tap one of his into the forefoot and have it not the easiest. No,
because it is a raised tap, which is a challenging shot in the first place.
Yeah, and
the way the angles are going, he needs to get to full forefoot. Which, well, not really. Half forefoot's plenty. So he does have. You're right. He's got like a, 2-foot diameter scoring area without too much trouble.
Yeah.
But it is tricky.
Put it this way: difficult for me, makeable for Gilad.
Makeable, but not guaranteed.
Sure.
And it looks like Jimmy Fallon's trying to push it in, like they think they're outside the line on it.
They are.
And that's because they are.
Yeah. Oh, and And it takes their guard, which is kind of the worst possible outcome for them.
Yeah, because now the line, do they have another stone, or is that their last stone?
Oh, no, Dan has another stone. And
well,
now
yeah,
Dan,
but does Gilad?
No, that's it for Gilad.
Okay, so yeah, so Dan has a nice open draw for a second point.
Yeah.
And all he needs is
and it'll be
touch forefoot?
Yeah, and it'll be very, very difficult to mess up the one he has in there. In fact, I would say physically impossible.
Well,
he could tap a yellow.
If he overcurls, he has the double tap yellow, which could outcount his, but probably not. Because if he overcurls to that degree, there's probably not much momentum in the stone. It was probably light, so it probably doesn't put enough energy in the system.
Yeah. He just threw his arm way out wide. Oh, my goodness, Bill, call for the sweep.
Too late.
Yeah.
And at this point, you don't want to take a chance on that double raise, so just let it nestle in, take your one.
Yep. Okay. One red, Loudoun scores. And the cowbells go off.
Is that their no, that is not their first score of the tournament. They actually got a 2 in their first end.
In their first end, yeah. They played a very good first end. They got 2.
And then the rest of the game happened, and we'll leave it at that.
We'll leave it, yeah. It turned into practice at one point. So, no, this is very good from them. I mean, they're to play a team this strong and to be down essentially by half shots.
Yeah.
Over on sheet A, it's a draw for 2 on hammer, so that's 2 red on sheet A.
Yes, it is. Okay. So that puts the correct curling dynamo up 3-1. Is that true? Yes, up 3-1 over Squirtle Squad. We are coming up on Fall Guys' final stone of this fourth end. There is a red on the back of the button behind a veritable Maginot line of stones in front. Now, much like the Maginot line, there is a route around.
Yeah. I know the reference.
So, figured you might.
Yes.
So basically, the Fall Guys are attempting to draw in between those 2 yellows and nestle on that red just behind the button. And that would be, it's a delicate shot. It's doable. They're scrubbing for line right now. They're guarding against an overcurl. I think they're in the slot. Looks like they're in the slot. Yes, they are. Now, do they have the distance to get to the button? Everybody's on it. They do not.
No, I don't think so.
No, but it is second shot.
A great throw and sweep.
Yeah, it was a marvelous effort. Tanya has. Tanya can try it. If she picks it out and sticks, that would be a 3. The danger here is the angle that she can get to, from what I see, has a reasonable possibility of turning into a jam of the yellow on that red, giving the yellow a steal of 1.
Yeah, I don't think she could hit that and stick. I don't think that's a possibility.
There's enough exposure there. She couldn't take it all the way out, but she could move it enough to move it to the 12-foot, which would be enough for her purposes. And then she would get the 2 red, and if the shooter stuck around in the 8-foot, it would be a 3rd.
But that's not what they're calling anyway.
No, I don't know what they are calling with.
Yeah,
I don't know. I have no idea what they're calling with this. I don't.
Unless they're trying to draw in, or maybe they're trying to bump their rock on the right in. I think that's what they're trying.
Okay, that's an interesting call.
The rock on our right will be your left on the screen there.
I feel like this isn't actually, it's a more delicate shot than the one down the center line, but there's a reason Tanya curled for an opportunity to get to the Olympics, and I'm sitting here behind commentary at 10 o'clock in the morning. So, unfortunately, she came up tight, and that's not going to make a difference in anything. It is essentially a force. Red 1 puts them up 3-1 after 4. Just realized one of the players from Fall Guys' name tag actually says redacted. I now feel like I must refer to them as that for the rest of the game. First stone of the 5th end on its way. Looks like it's a standard center guard. Basically, we're playing a standard opening right now. So we'll take this opportunity while a couple of the games are in the 5th end and one is just wrapping up the 4th. Bo, what's going on?
Oh, I'm doing very well, thanks.
Great. How
the gates. Okay. On sheet D, Alex.
A tie game.
Tie game. Alex Hyla is trying to generate some offense here. Bruce Black just had one that was in the 4-foot. Alex came down and nearly froze to it. The problem is then Bruce came down and blocked the path to raise that. Alex, if he can come around the other way and tap that red, would have 2 yellow. Bruce Black has the hammer on that one. Alex has to be careful with this shot. If he gives Bruce a path to tap out a yellow, this could be a very big end for Bruce. That shouldn't happen. So I tend to look at worst case scenarios, unfortunately, when I was skipped. So
well, you're a journalist. That's what you do.
Well, yeah, there's that.
On screen, you're currently looking at sheet D.
Okay. So we will look at Bruce's shot here, or no, Alex's shot. This is Alex's last shot for Indies. Bruce Black has the hammer. Kristy Becker, my teammate at the Beach Spiel this summer. Their team is doing considerably better than ours did at the Beach Spiel.
Did you have fun, though?
I had fun being in Wilmington, North Carolina. So Alex, that didn't accomplish much for him. Now Bruce could
overhead of
well, what it does do is it makes it interesting. Bruce doesn't really have an easy shot for 2 here.
No. Because what you can't see on the screen right now is there is a guard out. Oh, there we go. Now you can see that guard.
So I'm not sure. John Hale's broom is in an interesting location. That's a little too narrow to be a draw line, but I don't see what hit they'd be throwing.
He could be trying to pick out the yellow that's on the 4-foot.
I don't feel like that's the right broom for that. I feel like what he would probably be doing with that broom, and okay, I see it, is he wants to chop the yellow stone that's in the 8-foot.
Okay.
Red is going to come in towards that yellow stone that's on the top of the 4-foot. He's betting he's either going to make contact with that yellow stone and push it out far enough, or just the natural gearing of the red delivery stone will just bring it so that it turns out to be inside that other yellow.
Okay.
Yeah. Or it could just be it's only seeing 3 feet of curl over there, and he's just trying to get curl straight to
also possible, but at this speed, it's probably that gentle hit line. Well, actually, it's down a little.
Well, Bruce has been playing for half a century, so
yeah, he's thrown this shot 3 or 4 times in his life.
I think
this stone comes up very light.
The sweepers have given up on that. That's gonna be 1 red.
Yeah, he didn't even make the 3-guard zone, much less the house.
Yeah, one for Team Black in the 4th.
53 years experience makes it very easy to see the shot. Doesn't always make it easy to deliver the shot.
That is our slowest game. Team Indies yesterday was in our slowest game too. They got caught up in the time rule yesterday.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that game on D is only going 7 ends.
Yeah.
Which actually plays into Team Indies' advantage at this point because
the odd number of end.
Yeah, the odd number of end. They have the odd number end hammer right now.
Yeah.
And they're only down 1. It's a little early to really speculate on that, but all of the other games are in the neighborhood where they have a decent chance at making 8, not guaranteed, but
depends on how much thinking time you need. If you have some crucial shot in the 6th, it takes you a minute or 2 to look at, and that can throw things off.
Beautiful draw to touch the button.
On which sheet? I'm sorry.
B. We're back to B.
We're back on B?
Yep.
Okay.
Back on B.
So there is a Yellowstone touching the button, as Ken just said. It is behind cover, which is even better. There is a second yellow on the, as we're looking at it, right-hand side of the tee, just behind the tee. It is also 75% behind, actually, a pair of guards. So Tanya's line, she is asking Kristy Bellefontaine, I believe she's asking her to come down that highway, and which would probably have the effect of tapping that yellow that's on the button. There is a path, and it's pretty well aligned if Kristy has the line and the weight both right.
It's going to tap the guard.
Is it?
I think. It's really close. No, it
it's
just...
very cutty, actually.
Yeah, it just moved a lot.
Perfectly executed. Beautifully executed. Just not quite enough weight to tap it. It is sitting on it.
Counting second, at least.
Yeah, the Yellowstone, judging from the fact that it appears to me to be covering some of the center button, whereas the Redstone is not, I think yellow is still shot.
Oh, definitely.
But it's in the position where really, literally any contact with that Redstone moves that Yellowstone off the button.
And that other Yellowstone is not likely to help anymore. After being in such a beautifully guarded shot in that place, I can't imagine it's going to count on this game.
It might. Joe Soroka throwing his second and final stone of this fifth end. He is the second for Fall Guys. They have the hammer in this fifth end.
We're already skip rods on C, where Loudoun, again, poised to potentially score, but of course not hammer, and that's...
Okay, Fall Guys put up a guard on that red-yellow situation. Kristy's getting ready to throw her second stone of the end. Basically being asked to repeat the final stone with just a touch more speed. And it says a touch more speed. My concern is it's still going out. It hasn't started to come in yet. I'm not sure she's going to clear the guards. It's going to be good if she does. Now, the previous stone cut a lot late, too. There it is. It's cutting. It's in the gap. Is it going to get past the deeper of the two? Yes, right down Main Street. Bam. Perfect. So that is red 1 and maybe 2. I think that yellow stone is actually slightly closer.
Oh, definitely.
So it's red 1 at the moment. Now, on the other hand, they've got lots of raising stones. So with 4 stones for each team left to go in this end, there's still lots of chaos that can occur.
How much weight do you want, man? Come this way. Control.
We're trying to blow things up.
I mean, I'm down to, I don't have hammer. It's the fifth end of a game that will probably go 8. Maybe not. Might only go 7. I don't have hammer. Yeah, I guess blowing up is as good as the right call at the moment. The danger being if all you do is pop those guards, it doesn't really change a lot. We would get rid of the guards probably. It's going to this is going to chop out that red guard. It's basically a guard peel, and that does open up the red mess on the button.
So should they try to bump out the yellow, or should they just guard?
Well, so red's throwing right now. That's, let's see here. I mean, it's a 4-lane highway down the middle there to those those reds right now. Looks like Tanya's considering playing bump. And the reason for that really is if she can get the bump so that yellow is gone and she has 4 stones in the 8-foot, it is very difficult to throw a stone hard enough to move 168 pounds of granite. So, I mean, there's a power in having 4 stones in the 4-foot, even if they're exposed.
Bo is...
I am exhorting Loudoun to sweep. Because, again, that one could have kept going a bit and guarded their second shot.
Oops.
Yeah, that was an error by Alison.
Yeah, on the...
Now, I'm not sure if the error was on Alison's throw or if it was on the line that was called, but it
I
chopped
think she
one
threw
of
a little heavy.
She threw a little heavy? Okay. So that chopped that guard out. So now the Fall guys can, if they so choose to deal with the Red Menace.
It's wide open.
Yeah. Is it too soon at the Ukraine Bonspiel to make comments about Red Menaces? Okay, I won't do it.
I'll steer clear of that.
Okay, that's fair.
I picked a Eurovision winner from a happier year as opposed to this year's winner.
So Stone is on the way. Basically, they're trying to get rid of at least 2 of these reds. They don't really care which 2, frankly.
Ooh.
Kind of something like that. That's okay for them. That's
a lot better than they were.
Yeah, there's enough stones left in the end so that the fact that there's still a red on the button that's exposed is not really a problem. They have they don't really have. If Tanya puts up a guard on that, they don't really have a raise candidate on it. Tanya could. Is that open? Well, the yellow stone that's also full in the 4-foot is protected on the inside. Anything that she hits it with on the outside probably rolls out to a point where it's not in the scoring situation.
I got to give you a quick update on C because Loudoun just stole one. They had 2 in there. Gilad went after one of them with his first, or was trying to draw, and was heavy and went through. Dan was a little wide on a guard, but then Gilad could really only take out 1 and couldn't get to the shot rock. So a steal of 1 for Loudoun.
That's all right. I'm going to interrupt your interruption to tell you that over on sheet A, the Squirtle Squad took 1 with their hammer to tie that up at 3 after 5.
And they took 2, right?
I'm sorry, you're right. 2 is more than 1. Math is hard.
An array of good games here this morning.
So meanwhile, remember how we were talking about all it takes is one stone, one end that has a confusing tactical situation to really slow it down? Welcome to Sheet B, where Tanya and her vice, Alison Kemp, have been spending about a minute and a half to this point figuring out what they can do with the assets they have at hand. We have the overhead on the screen currently. Red is currently sitting 1. Yellow has the 2nd. Red has the 3rd. Yellow has the 4th and 5th. And it goes downhill from there. Red is preparing to throw their first skips stone, and they do not have the hammer. There. Now you know the tactics. Those of you who are on the YouTube, I'd be interested in seeing what do you think you want to do.
I think they want to draw in to freeze on the corner, freeze on theirs, so if there's a hit, it would bump out the yellow one.
Okay, that is an option, and that,
so
that broom would be consistent with that.
Land on the center line, corner freeze into the red rock.
Sure, that would be consistent with that broom.
If you can do that, then there's nothing yellow can do to get both those reds out.
Not easily. Tanya's first stone is on the way. Feels to me as though it might be a little bit narrow. And apparently Loudoun stealing 1 has driven Gilad to drink, as his father just brought the first beer of the morning out to him. So I think Tanya was throwing the shot that Ken was recommending, but came up short. So now what is Mark's response? Mark is considering, can he tap that red through that hole between his red on the T line and the yellow in the back 8? He's thinking about it. The problem is the jam possibility is very high.
I think you have to try, though. I don't think there are any other good options.
I'm looking. I'm not. I mean, he could also try to bring it through the other hole between the two yellows. That's actually a harder. That's actually a harder angle to execute. So I think he's right if he's trying to bring it through those two. His nose there, if he gets that right, he would be sitting 2.
Yeah, I mean, even if it jams on the yellow, it's still...
He's still probably sitting 2. Because that yellow's in the 8-foot.
I should say if it jams on the yellow in the back, if it jams on the on the
jams
wrong
on the
yellow, but I don't think there's
but
much chance of that because with that guard, I don't think you can get to that side of it.
He could maybe get to the nose, but not enough to jam on his yellow. So that's the shot. Try to push that red through that hole. Either of the two holes is acceptable to him. The one that's, he's explaining it to his front end down at this end right now. You can't see that on the camera. But can we see it on the camera? Okay. Janine is all over it. We just saw the skip, Mark Stieffenhofer, explaining what he wants to accomplish to his front end.
As we took a look at his backside, back of his head.
Oh boy, we've had some really good shots on D and C. On sheet D, Bruce Black just threw a picture-perfect freeze on the button. And on sheet C, a double takeout for Team Fallon. I'm not sure who threw it, not sure how far along we are, but it got one all the way out, one mostly out. So that'd be a 75%er, would you say? 3 out of 4? Alan, if you get...
Sorry, I'm a little busy watching the other thing. Oh, it popped up just, Wow. So what that does do is it does moves the guard line around a little bit.
It is vulnerable.
Red is still lying 1. That red is, as Janine just said, vulnerable.
We could still call the same thing they tried last time.
Well, sure, but Tanya gets to throw first. So pretty sure Tanya's not going to let them.
No, I mean, pretty sure. I meant Tanya could try the same thing she tried last time.
Okay, I see what you're saying.
Although he couldn't really get all the way past the corner like he wanted, but it's still, even if you nose freeze on the shot rock,
right,
it would work.
Taking my first look at B now, it looks like a Jackson Pollock painting.
Yeah, a little bit. So this game has now fallen behind the speed curve, so they're probably also going 7. So Tanya is, I don't know if Tanya's really internalized that fact yet or not, but
she was aware of the clock yesterday.
Okay, she's probably on it and understands. And both teams, I mean, there's no gamesmanship going on here. Both teams have spent long periods of time staring at this. Tanya has maybe spent a little bit longer, but not so much that there's any grounds for complaint or issue or anything like that.
If you play 15 minutes an end, you should be able to get in 8.
If you play 15 minutes an end, you have 5 extra minutes over the course of your first 7 ends. But it doesn't take long for a 15-minute end to become a 16-minute end, and that's a problem. Yep. 1 minute, actually.
And at 20, 25.
Yeah. So Tanya getting ready to throw her last stone of the end. I think she's really just kind of guarding this up.
Yeah, she was looking at her own stone. I think she was thinking, hey, can I knock that back and threaten 2? But looks like she's playing conservative.
I feel like the conservative play is the correct thing here.
And her weight on the slide implies a
this is completely a guard. So the only question is whether it gets the line right. Looks like it's...
If it curls the way it has been.
There's been while you were in the kitchen, there were a couple stones that took some severe lefts.
Oh, really? Yeah, that was there. It just dug in.
Including this one.
Yeah. Wow.
But it does still provide some protection. It's not perfect protection, but it's enough. I mean, it's got Mark now looking at circusy raises.
Yeah.
It's not really circusy. It would just be a straight angle raise.
A hack weight shot would get around that guard, right?
Talked about the guard that Tanya just threw?
Yeah.
A hack weight shot would get around the guard, but my interesting question is whether you're going to be able to get enough of the red angularly to get it through either of the 2 exit gaps and still leave your shooter where it needs to be to get to.
Yeah.
That's asking for an awful lot of physics.
Yeah. Well, at this point, I would be thinking I'd rather just take the force. If you
Frankly, even taking the force is difficult.
Yeah.
Because that red stone needs to be moved approximately 3 feet.
Yeah.
It needs to be driven past the button on the back and another 6 inches past that.
You have a quick view of sheet C on the right of your screen.
Yeah, to tell you what's going on C and D, and then we'll get right back to B. But C and D, it's basically experienced curlers being experienced curlers. And that's the story.
Except that last shot just, unless that was his plan to take out a guard, then he...
No, that was not an experienced curler.
That was the inexperienced curler.
Yeah, experienced curlers being Team Fallon on C and Bruce Black over on D, where, again, Bruce's perfect freeze is just leaving little for the hammer's on the way on D, and it's not going to get anywhere there. That's going to be a steal of 1.
Speaking of hammers, the hammer on B is on its way. It
All
looks
right.
like they're trying to pull around that guard and do the tap. They've definitely got the around the guard part.
Oh, that's
really nice. I think he's done it.
That is the shot.
Wow! 2. That is a well-executed shot for 2. Well done, sir. At least I think it's 2. It's not official yet, but
it
I'm
looks
pretty
2
sure
from here.
Looks very 2-ish. They haven't kicked stones yet. If I was Alison, I'd be very scared about standing in the middle of that.
Like
okay, now they're kicking stones. Okay, so that's a 2.
2 yellow.
2 yellow. Does that tie that back up?
Yes, it
does. That does tie that back up. That ties it back up at 3 at the end of 5. In a note that this game is probably only going 7 because there's only 23 minutes remaining in the period.
Any other score updates, guys?
Sheet D should be 1 for Bruce Black, unless something unusual happened that I didn't see. They haven't hung it yet officially, but that should be 1 for Team Black.
Well, then we are going to assume now the score is 5-3.
Yeah.
Okay. Who's near the end of...
Near the end of an end?
Yeah, I'm gonna...
Sheet A is kind of close.
Let's switch over to A.
Yeah, A is closest to the end.
Yeah.
C is
on,
C.
They're on skip rots, but it's this is not the most compelling event.
A is really the closer game. So that's as between the correct curling dynamo, who is shooting red, and the Squirrel Squad shooting yellow. That game is tied at 3 as we are in the the second of 4 skip rocks. In the end, yellow has thrown their first skip stone. Red is getting ready to throw their first skip stone. Yellow is currently sitting
3.
3?
Well,
I feel like it's only 2, but okay.
No,
you're right. It is 3. Okay, now that I'm standing up, I get a better view at it. You're right. It is 3. Yellow is lying 3. They do not. Red has hammer, however. So, how much headset cable do I have here? Can I get a better view? All right, Redstone is on the way.
On sheet A.
On sheet A. He's basically trying to get to a defendable position to try to cut that, to try to set himself up for maybe a 2 somewhere. This is not going to happen. It's a slide through. That is too heavy. That is through the house. Chris Seeley is saying, okay, I'm lying 3. I'd like to see if I can make it a situation where the other team is drawing against 4. Because there's always a stress involved with that.
If you take a look over on sheet C, on the right, bottom right.
Sweep!
There's a
sweep!
Bo wishes they would sweep.
If they would
I
sweep,
don't think it would have helped.
Yeah.
There's a lot of traffic out front.
Yeah. It might have ticked the guard rather than knocking it straight into the house where it's buried.
I don't, maybe. All right, so
Yeah.
Bill Engman's got a broom out for a nice straight draw for Kristy over here on A with their last stone at the end.
Ow!
That hurt.
Sorry.
So the Kristy's last stone of this sixth end is on its way.
Ooh.
It's coming in. It's a little short. It's not going to be a fourth point. It does guard the button. Red doesn't need the button to score their one here. That's really all they're doing is it's a draw for one. They need to get to basically full 8 foot to take the one in a game that should make 8 ends. As long as they're not overly, as long as nothing weird happens at the 7th end.
Keeping an eye on sheet C on the right. Bottom is their house, a lot of traffic. And it's going to hit off the one guard.
All right, hammers on the way on sheet A. Sweepers are on it as though they're, I'm not sure if they're just tuning the line or if they're concerned about it. They should be concerned about it. I think he's on the guard. That's because he is on the guard. That is a steal of 3-4 yellow, blowing this game open.
Ooh, Squirtle spot gets 3. Okay, let's get back to our B.
All righty, on B, we are well into this 6th of probably 7 ends. We are, yellow is preparing to throw their second stone, their 4th stone of the end. Currently, there is 1 red stone in the top 12. There is a set of 4 guards providing a variety of protection plans.
Okay. Sorry for playing with the cameras. I'm trying to get it back to where I want it to be, but I can't get. There we go. I think we're close now.
Sweepers are on the stone hard. He's concerned about line, but I think they've kept it straight enough. Yes, they have. They have the hit. Is it going to be enough to get it out? It is, and the shooter hangs over on the edge of the 12-foot, not behind cover, but the edge of the 12-foot is kind of its own cover. So Tanya's looking to drive in behind, not drive in, draw in behind the two yellow guards near the center line. Welcome back, Boder from Sheet A. How's it going?
Or Sheet D, yeah.
Sheet D, rather.
And so, I first of all, I pledge that if I go move over, I will mute before I drop my headset,
Thank you.
I do not get a big thump over there. I was just discussing with Alex Hyman's wife, Erin, why they're sweeping Kristy Becker's guards into the house. And, I mean, it is intentionally getting it in there because that just leaves open season for Mark Hauera to claim them out of there. But their second shot from Kristy, they actually buried about 2/3 of the way behind guard, and then sort of a half miss, just made partial contact with it and tapped it in there where it's fully buried. So then Bruce peeled a guard, and now things are open again. Still early in that end. There's your update.
All right.
Sheet C is fairly wide open at this point. Well, it's very early.
Yeah, they're only throwing their second stone at the end.
Yeah.
So, or third.
Yeah.
I believe it's a score update 9 for Team Fallon. And that's going to go through.
And, yep, the Fall Guys stone was attempting to draw behind the cover on the center line. Instead, it drew to the hack, which, although a exhibition of great skill, is useless in this game. So that stone is out of play. Red lies 1. Yellow does have 1 behind cover over in the 12-foot.
No, I did not watch the end on sheet C. I mean, basically it was just again, experienced team getting rots in the house.
That's pretty. From what I saw, that's basically what it was.
Yeah.
Was
3
difference in it was a 3, and it was curlers with multiple years of experience, one of whom has played on an international stage against a team that usually plays on arena ice.
Yeah. And that's how this end is shaping up as well.
Yeah, there is a degree of, that's how that's going to go.
Yeah, and Loudoun can take a lot of pride in how they played in this game.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
That is simultaneously one of the beauties of curling, in that if you at a given bonspiel, a team of 4 people who got together at the Learn to Curl 3 weeks ago could conceivably play against Schuster and Hamilton and all those guys.
Oh, yeah.
Or an end.
The downside of that is those games almost always end exactly as you think they will.
But it's all about the fun.
Exactly.
I mean, it's funny when we see high-quality players like the Dunhams and Monica Walker, and then they get in tight games, but then they throw a shot.
What a draw.
Right past the guard.
But not long enough to become shot. That's true. Just
too
that
red
hair
right
short.
now.
Currently too red. Now that yellow is very tappable.
Yeah.
Well,
So to quickly finish the thought, it's just that the Dunhams and Walkers of the world can just occasionally pull out a shot that just otherworldly shot that changes the game.
Yeah. Yeah, that is the difference. 90% of the shots that are going to get thrown in a curling game, what Schuster's calling is no different. What Schuster's throwing is no different than what you're throwing, Bo, and you can throw it just as well as they can. But that other 10% is what makes the difference between somebody who is playing in the D event quarterfinals and somebody who is playing for a gold medal.
Also coming up short, but
that may have been deliberate.
because if we take a further out view, guards and all, you can probably see why.
Red is currently lying 2, which they have hammer. So, and this game is going 7. This game is not going to go 8.
Oh.
So, Tanya's basically looking at this likely being her last crack at the hammer, unless she manages to get a blank out of this. There's too many stones in place. It's not going to get blanked. So Tanya's trying to figure out how to put a crooked number on the board.
The cowbell you just heard was for a very nice draw from Loudoun on the button right now with some backing.
Very nice. Fall guys are throwing.
oh, it's going to hit the red.
Oh
no, it's gonna
it's gonna chip. It's gonna dive and chip a guard and turn into an extra guard on things.
Not what they want.
No. There are words to describe that. What they want is not any of them. So Tanya getting ready to throw her first. Looks like she's going to try to draw in behind that practically impenetrable cover. So yeah.
Thank you, Ken.
In a couple of minutes, I'm probably going to walk out to the catwalk and be a visible reminder to people of the impending time deadline. Just to be sure. Tanya is obviously aware of it.
Yeah, we do only have, and Bruce has been, as you said, Bruce has been coming forever, so you should be aware of it. Also, the other 2 games are well into the 7th.
Yeah, A and C will play 8 ends.
Will make 8 ends if they want to, at least.
Yeah.
All right, you'll be able to see the hack and house of B and C. That's Bravo and Charlie.
All right, so Tanya's first stone, as we said, attempting to draw behind the cover. She's
Little
got
heavy.
the line. Does she have the weight? They're sweeping it.
Ooh. Ooh, slow down.
It's okay. Distance is okay. It would have been better if it had curled behind the cover. It did not. I think the sweeping that they were doing at the end was an attempt to directional sweep and force it in. That's a tricky thing to do under the best of circumstances. So unfortunately, what that does give is exactly what Mark appears to be showing with his broom, which is a light tap on that red that they just threw, roll towards the button. If they roll it towards the button far enough, there is no way that's coming out, which would give him an opportunity to steal. Now, Tanya wouldn't mind giving up a steal. She wouldn't want to, but giving up a steal of one means she's only down one with hammer in what would be the last end. It's not a horrible situation.
Seems like they should have stopped sweeping that rock. Let it be higher than a half.
Yeah, they were trying to bury it, but
it wasn't happening.
Yeah, probably not the right decision.
Back to just B.
So Mark is trying, like I said, to come in and just kind of gently get past those guards and then gently use that red to come in. His stone, unlike Tanya's, is starting to cut. Is he past the guards? He is not.
Not exactly.
So Tanya lies three red.
Still three.
Three red and hammer, which she's getting ready to throw.
I just want to plug that hole.
No, it's the hammer. Why
Oh, it's hammer. Oh,
it's
right,
hammer.
hammer. Get drying. Yep.
Am I wrong?
No, you're right.
Okay.
Yeah.
No, I was questioning myself there for a second
Yeah.
because I saw yellow stubbits under the sheet.
Yeah.
So Tanya drawing in for 4, which will probably, not officially put this game to bed, but basically put this game to bed.
And you can even throw that a little bit heavy. If you tap the yellow a little bit on the inside, it'll work. If you hit one of your reds a little bit, it'll work.
Hammer coming on D as well, outside with a draw. It's been pretty wide open. They just had a little hitting battle. Bruce just took out one. Alex needs a little more than a bite of the 8-foot for one.
Alex is currently down 2, correct?
Correct.
Then he actually wants to blank this.
Yeah.
That would be a good idea. Let's see if that's the shot. With the weight, I think it is.
Because he knows that he's only playing 7. He wants to have that hammer in the last end. It's way easier to take 2 than to steal 1.
Yep. And no.
No,
missed.
clean miss.
Yeah.
So now he's down 3. Now on the plus side, he does have the hammer.
Yeah.
All right, Tanya's stone is on its way. It needs to cut a little. I don't think it's going to get the job done. Oh, and did that promote that yellow enough to make it?
No, it's still 3.
It's still red 3. Okay.
Red 3.
At least in our opinion, it's still red 3. They're still looking and checking, but it's pretty clear from our point of view.
Right. Well, I'm going to go ahead and put it up there, and I will
they're kicking
fix it.
stones. I'm 99% sure you're good.
Okay.
So that gives Dem Beets a 6-3 lead going into what will be the last end unless they play 16 stones in 6 minutes, which is mathematically possible, but not terribly likely. Now, just as a reminder of the situation, Dem Beets was 1-0, having won their first game in the pool. So by winning that second game, they're in a pretty strong. They become in a pretty strong position in that pool. Fall Guys would move to 0-2, looking to pretty much have to win that last game. That'll be this evening at 4:30, in order to have any chance of advancing into a playoff game in any of the events.
I'm taking a look at C. Coming into your screen. Oh, it's kind of, yeah.
We are also preparing to, no, this is not the hammer on A, never mind, it's the last yellow. The last yellow stone of this 7th end on sheet A, being delivered by Kristy.
Well, on C, this is the last stone for Gilad.
I am back, having double-checked to make sure all teams are aware of the impending time limit. And it looks like everyone knows. I mean, sheet B, they know they have one more end. Sheet D, they know they have one more end.
All right, here's Gilad delivering his last stone.
A is getting ready to throw their hammer.
Yeah, so they're aware.
Yeah, and they're in the 7th, so they'll make the time. They can throw an 8th if they want to. Now, the problem that is being faced by the correct curling Dynamo is that they are currently facing 2. The draw line is there to outdraw it, but it needs to be a well-executed draw or they're going to give up a steal.
Now, let me verify the time of 11:50, which is 1 hour, 50 minutes. Is that...
That's to finish. Once you've completed the previous end, you get to play the end.
Yeah, basically, you can finish the end that you're playing. Now, if an end officially ends when your rock comes to rest. So if it's 11:49:30 and you want to sit there and measure, that's fine. You still get to play one more end.
And on A, that draw did come up light. Yellow takes 2. So.
Almost. Sheet C, Dan Eisen goes up the middle and almost raises for 1.
But cuts it from 3 to 1.
Cuts him for 3 to 1. So, yeah, they're going to, looks like they're going to end it there.
Wow.
So, a really well-played game for Loudoun there. And the score, the score might not indicate, but they're playing a team of fantastic players. A little bit unlucky in the first couple of ends. So very good shots throughout.
And once you start chasing a game. Okay, and it looks like apparently that was enough on A also.
Yep.
The steal of 2,
Which team?
The steal of 2 from the Squirtle squad. I'm a little surprised that finished that game. I feel like they could have possibly tried to have taken 2. They weren't out of time. They had the 8th end if they wanted it.
Yeah,
but
a little surprised.
I guess. Okay, so A and B. Oh.
A and C are done.
A and C are done.
Or are they going to? No, they're going to go ahead and play the 8th. Might as well throw all the rocks back down this way.
All right.
On C. Okay. But A called their game, which that was a strange choice, in my opinion. But
it's okay.
Yeah, no, it's perfectly within their rights to do it. Apparently they decided they could not
get a 5.
Were they down 4?
Well, after the last 2, they took 2 and 7, and then that's 8-3.
Okay, then yeah, okay. I thought it was a closer game. I thought that the 2 only gave a margin 2. So no, if it's a 5-point margin, then that does make sense. Yes.
Yeah.
I
was counting the steal of 2 as you stated.
Absolutely. Yeah. No. I couldn't see the scoreboard, so I thought it was a closer game than that. No big deal. That completely makes sense then.
Yep.
So the Squirtle squad moves to 2-0. And it looks like Team Fallon is going to move to 2-0 almost certainly. So that's going to set up in not the next game, but that's going to set up in draw 6 a championship game in the Klokova group, basically between Team Fallon and the Squirtle squad. I'm hoping that's
Squirrel.
Squirtle.
Squirtle. Sound like Squirtle to me.
Yeah,
same.
I understand. You're not on.
Are you on now? I hear both coming
because I grabbed the wrong headset. Yeah, we have moved that game to sheet B.
Okay, I feel like we should. Yeah. So that will be our 4 o'clock game?
4:30.
4:30?
Yeah.
That'll be our 4:30 feature game. Will be for the championship of the Klokova group. Both teams will be 2-0. The other teams in the division will be 0-2. And they will also be playing for the winner of that game will advance to the C event final. And the loser of that game will advance to the bar.
We're offering a chance for people if they want to do something. We have open sheets in the last draw, so if some people want to play a doubles game or whatever, they can do that.
Yeah.
So.
So we are in the 7th ends, which will be the last end as we have reached the 11:50 time cut. So teams can finish this end, and then that's the end of the game. If there happens to be a tie, they will throw skips rocks to break ties. However, in both of these games, one team or the other, one team has a significant lead. 3 is pretty hard to come back against when a team is playing defense.
They did not officially hang the score on C, it looks like. But do we have that?
Yellow
Yeah, it
took
was
the
1.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
they're just playing for the experience.
Yeah, this is.
Oh,
Yeah.
I have 10-2.
Yeah, because they didn't hang the yellow.
Yeah,
they didn't hang
yeah,
the
they
yellow
have not
one
hung.
in 7th.
Yeah,
Okay.
you're correct. They're an in behind.
Behind.
They have not caught up to you.
But the game is basically over. They're just throwing for practice right now.
Yeah, and also all the rots need to be down at this end
yeah,
anyway.
so you might as well. They're not holding anything up.
No.
There's games going on the other sheets.
Okay.
So
Over on
It's fine.
D, 6-3. Team Black is with the 6.
as it is 6-3 on sheet B, also with Dem Beets over the Fall Guys.
Yes.
So assuming that both of those results hold, that will also be setting up a championship match in the Snigger group between Dem Beets and Team Black.
Dun dun dun.
Would you like the same idea? Are you ready here, Ben?
All right, you are now able to see sheet B on the upper and lower on your left side, and the house on sheet D on your right. Doing our best with the camera choices available to give you the most action.
Sheet yellow preparing to throw their second stone. Second thrower, name redacted. At least according to the name tag. Joe Soroka is the name on the forms. It's all good.
We do appreciate a good sense of humor.
Exactly. Is throwing a pop out of that yellow and
Take
try
it.
to roll in. That's okay. So that's actually a very useful stone. It put the 2 yellows in the 8-foot, and the yellow that's to our left is now a very good raise candidate against that red stone on the button.
Absolutely.
And yellow is trying to score 3. That shot actually would probably set up a 3 potentially. Now that yellow stone both of those yellow stones are exposed, and that is why Tanya is saying, "This stone offendeth me, please do remove it muchly."
I often say, this rock displeases me.
It vexes her. She is sorely vexed. She is no longer vexed as that stone go bye-bye, and the shooter rolls over to a position just lightly caressing the edge of the 4-foot over to our left.
Okay. And in sheet D again.
I think they're on the verge of shaking at this point.
On D,
Yeah. Yeah, there's no way out. It's going to
they're running out of material.
Running out of rocks.
Yeah,
you
that's
would say.
yeah.
It's too red at this point in time, obviously from the overhead view
Well,
of the house.
right. So the question is, does yellow have any way to score 3? Do they still have 3 stones that are capable of scoring?
Well, they've got 2.
And nothing in the house currently in a scoring position. So they're not technically eliminated yet, but for all practical purposes, yeah, that game is basically over. Bruce Black has managed to
All right.
squash all resistance.
Taking a B, look at B. Ooh, nice
He executes
shot.
the nice raise pop. So yellow
Very nicely
currently
done.
sits 1.
Yes.
Yellow is also starting to run out of material. They've only got the 1 stone. They only have 1 stone in play, period, and they've only got 2 stones remaining. They've got to score 3 in order to extend this game, so they got to keep that yellow stone scoring and get these other 2 in. And oh, by the way, and they do have hammer, however, so they do have that going for them at least.
Nice shot over on C.
And apparently we have pretzels for lunch. Woo.
Ooh, to go with the borscht.
All right. So on D, Alex needs to get both of his remaining rods in and tick one of the ones that he has several feet away in.
And also get rid of the 2 red rocks that are in the 8 foot.
Well, yeah, that too.
So you're saying there's a chance?
Never tell me the odds.
Oh, yes, indeed. Lots of memorable quotes.
They're not completely dead. They're only mostly dead. These stones coming in. It's okay. So he did successfully deal with one of the reds. So that was one of them. Actually, he didn't.
Oh.
That's. I mean, that. Okay, that game's over.
Well,
they may continue throwing stones.
No, they're shaking.
They're shaking.
They're shaking.
Okay, that's okay.
So that was officially a 6-3 final.
6-3.
Yeah, because
there are still stones remaining to be thrown.
Eventually, you bow to inevitability. All righty. And Tanya is deciding to just make that very impossible for Stieffenhofer to do anything about it. So he's in a situation that's just about as hard as the yellow team was facing over on D a minute ago. He's got a little more to work with. He's got a stone currently in the 4 foot. He's got 2 stones remaining. He basically has to remove one of those 2 actually, only one of those reds has to go, the one that's fully in the 4 foot. And it is pretty open. So his first shot is straightforward. He has to hit that red, roll over onto the center line. He has to roll over as if he's exposed at all and Tanya takes it out, game over. If he manages to get that draw and roll over onto the center line, Tanya probably tries to roll in on top of his 4 foot, draw in rather. If she executes that, game over. If she doesn't execute that and either leaves her stone not relevant or hittable, he can get a hit and stick potentially for 3 to tie the game. So he actually has a clear path. He just has to execute it and hope that Tanya does not successfully execute her counter shot. That's all it takes.
That's all.
That's all. So step 1, hit, roll in.
Step 2, question mark. Step 3, profit?
Yeah, actually, in this case, precisely, because step 2 is rely on Tanya to miss. If this is past the guard, he has not passed the guard. That is game over because he does not have material because that stone's out of play.
And it looks like handshakes are happening.
Yep.
Handshakes are. Is there more stones to be thrown? Yes, there were.
There were, so that is technically X's would be how we record it. So the final score is 6-3.
6-3.
For Dem Beets.
For Dem Beets. Setting up, as we were suspecting earlier, setting up that championship for the division in the 4 o'clock draw.
Which will be on sheet C. So if you tune into our 4:30 draw, you will see our feature game and then our feature adjacent game will both be for group championships.
Yes, indeed.
Okay.
Alan and Janine, thank you. Thank you, Bo. And we're wrapping this up now. And we'll be back to you at 12:30 for the next draw, which will be the final round for our other 2 divisions. So we'll see y'all then.
Alan, good luck in your game.
Thank you.
All right.